What is up, you guys? It's Joelle and welcome back to my channel. The topic of today is on maintaining your faith in college. It's going to be a shorter video, not a best life episode, just because I want it to be short and sweet. I talk a lot though, so we'll see if that happens. But it's just really important to me, and it's something that I think I've learned how to do throughout my 3+ years in college. So I just want to share my tips for you guys on what it is like to be a Christian in a very non-Christian environment, and learning how to maintain your faith for yourself, not just in college, but whether it's moving out or whatever you're doing, just starting a new chapter of your life and learning to adapt for it while maintaining your faith, because life is all about change. So here we are. Really quick, if you have not yet subscribed, feel free to do so. Join the J team where no one's a bench warmer, everyone's a playmaker, and turn on bell notifications if you'd like to receive updates every time that I upload and my videos aren't lost to the YouTube algorithm. And I have 5 tips. I try to break it down real simple for you guys. The first tip is that it all starts before college. Because college is such a crazy, chaotic time, it's really important, whether it's the summer before or whenever it is, when you have some time to yourself, to really just ask, why am I doing this? Like, what is it about my faith that is so important to me? And this is a really important question to ask, because once you enter college, people will be throwing a billion different opinions your way. And so it's really important, if you have some time of peace, to really talk to God about it and learn for yourself, why do I do this? Maybe it started out as something just cultural, that your family went to church or whatever. But if you're dedicated enough to look for this video, I am assuming that you are passionate about your faith and Christianity and want to really hold on to God's truth through all walks of life. So having that conversation with God and creating good habits before changing your lifestyle is really important. I highly recommend finding trusted resources, whether it's your parents, a youth pastor, or whatever it is, and sitting down and having one-on-ones with them, or just asking important questions to find your why, of making sure you really understand the fundamentals of Christianity. Who is Jesus? What did he do on the cross for us? And what does it mean for me to be a Christian? As well as having your quiet time with God, because developing that secret place with God is what Christianity is. It's not rules, it is relationship. God is a God who is your father, not a dictator. And the more that you can cultivate that relationship with God and being able to hear God's voice for yourself, the easier it will be to maintain that relationship when things get crazy. So this kind of leads into my second tip, which is just establishing good habits, whether it's saying that you're gonna have this amount of quiet time every day, or just, you know, remembering to go to church. Like, our identities are the culmination of our habits and our thought processes. So remembering to put God first itself is a habit. A really healthy habit that is so basic, but I feel like it's often neglected, is just reading your Bible. Because again, when you go through college, the Bible is really God's truth. So if you're ever asking questions, the Bible should be one of the first places that you go, because it is what God can speak directly to you through. My tip number 3 is to find community. While at college, you'll probably encounter a number of Christian communities, no matter where you are. I swear there's gonna be at least one. And I highly encourage you to have a lot of patience in looking for this. Know that there is no perfect Christian community. They're probably gonna be different from the community that you came from at home, but I really want to encourage you to not give up and to either keep searching or to always look for the good in the communities that are around you. So whether or not it's like your best friends, or whether or not you agree with them on all fronts, there is going to be some truth and something that they have that you can learn from them, and that is really important to maintain. Because even if it's not exactly what you're looking for, just having people that you can lean on in regards to your faith, and people that you can go to, you can ask questions to, go to church with, is so helpful. And who knows, you could even find some of your closest friends in those communities even when you don't expect it. Tip number 4 is the most practical, and this is working your habits into your schedule. I go to school at Dartmouth and life is insane. Quarter system is ridiculous, but something I really value is taking the habits that I previously established and finding time for them, finding a way to make them work sustainably. So maybe you did an hour of quiet time before going to college, and maybe that doesn't work because you're dying under stress of classes. But even if that means 15 minutes right when you wake up and 15 minutes right before you go to bed, if it is something that you can do continuously, and you have to build it into your schedule. For me, I like to wake up and I do a devotional, one by Bill Johnson. I'll link it in the description or something. And at night, I like to read, you know, whatever passages from the Bible. You can go through a Bible reading plan. I just go through whatever I feel like. Those are 2 staples to start and end my day that I do not change, regardless of what's going on, regardless of if I'm tired or not, or going to the gym early or something. Those 2 things are immovable, and sometimes it takes sacrifice because it requires me to work my schedule around it, but that is a sacrifice that I make, knowing that my habits are building my character. It is just who I am, and I do this because that is the kind of person that I am. This translates also to church. Church is something that is so easily neglected in college because no one else is going with you, or I stayed out late on Saturday night, I'm so tired in the morning, I need my rest. Well, I'm sorry, but some things take lifestyle changes, and if your faith is really important to you, then it requires building a lifestyle that reflects that. And that doesn't mean that you can't go out and have fun. It's just knowing what's within your capacity and your limitations and saying, okay, maybe I'll go out on a Saturday, but it will mean that I come home at this time so I get the proper amount of sleep so that I can go to church in the morning and still be a functioning human being. Because you should never exhaust yourself. God doesn't want you to exhaust yourself. He wants you to take care of yourself, and that is just part of it. My last tip number 5, is to remember to rest in God. And remember just who God is. Like I said, he's not a slave driver, he's not a dictator, he's a father who loves you, who has grace, who understands you, and wants the best for you. So if you ever do mess up or something, or like miss a week at church, or behave in a way that you know wasn't aligned with your faith, there's grace. That there's always an opportunity where God's gonna be like, hey man, you stumbled a little bit, it's fine though, I'm gonna help you get back up on your feet and we can move on from there. That doesn't mean that you would take advantage of someone who loves you and say, well, there's always grace, there's always forgiveness, I'm gonna go do whatever I want. The minute before I die, maybe I'll be like, I'm so sorry, God, and then I'll go to heaven. That's just not what Christianity is, and it's not what it means to have your life dedicated to God. You know, for me, I've learned that if I'm feeling stressed or something about me just feels off, that my first reflex is to pray and to remember that, God, you know my life, you know my future, and I know that you hold my peace. And peace, I feel like, is something that escapes us in college. We are so busy, frantic, trying to have a social life, trying to find jobs, get good grades, and it has been so helpful and practical for me to remember that God is the one who has my life in control, and he is the one who guides my steps and knows where I'm going and knows the plans that he has for me. And that to me is such a motivation to remember to put God first, because when I put God first, I know that the rest will fall into place. So rather than my faith being an afterthought in what I do, or just a ritual of going to church or praying before meals, it's something that I really internalize as part of my identity and my future that I need to invest in. And so when things come up, even like worrying that people will think I'm uncool for having to go to church in the morning, or not binge drinking every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I just can remember, oh, like, well, that's just not the kind of person I am, and that's totally cool. I will never judge anyone for making different lifestyle decisions. No, they don't judge me either, and I think you'll be surprised if you're worried about people judging you, or you're worried about being seen as uncool, that people actually respect people who have convictions that they're willing to stick to. And yes, it might mean that you don't necessarily fit in with certain groups because of that lifestyle, but it also gives you a really great opportunity to be like, hey, well, I have the capacity to love you regardless of our differences, and I really appreciate you as a human, even if you don't appreciate me. And I think you'll find that a lot of people are way more accepting and interested actually in what makes you you than you would expect. So I hope this kind of can help put you at ease for going into college as a young Christian. Props to you for even seeking out to find this video, and I hope this was helpful. Really just my like top of the head tips that I've tried to implement in my life that I've found to be super helpful for attending a school that is not Christian, but being able to maintain and grow in my faith. Not just staying stagnant, but really being able to feel like I'm with people that push me and are running with me and are challenging me every day, and I am so thankful for that. So this probably ended up longer than I expected, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you have not yet subscribed, please feel free to do so. If you have questions or just thoughts, please feel free to write those in the comment section below. I always love reading thoughts from you and feedback, and if you have tips that you think would be helpful for each other as well, I really encourage you to help build this community of collaboration and helping each other live your best lives. Love you guys so much. Jesus loves you, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.